want to make sure that I'm audible or not. Okay, thank you. And I don't know whether people will join. Hopefully they will. The last time also this happened, right? Not by history, but literature this thing happened. Let's see. Inshallah. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. I'm audible? Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm audible. So if so we are audible, we can start. Yep. Yeah. Thank you, Nada. Yes. So, yeah, and make sure you all rename yourselves. So it will be easy, right, to name you. Okay. So I thought of doing, yeah, I thought of doing the 2029 paper, 2019 paper, right? So, which is very important, right? So from 2018, if you practice the past papers, it will be very useful for you all to do the final paper of yours, right? So, yeah. So when we consider the structure of English literature papers, so here also the same. We have part one and part two. Okay. So when we consider part one, okay, when we consider part one, we have section A and section B, right? I'll just give you a gist on the paper structure and then we can straight away start the paper, right? Yeah. So in section A, part one, section A in literature, we have six types of six context questions to do. Okay, that is from the poems. Okay, we have some like two from each. Like, okay, so we have two context questions from poems. Okay, you have like 20 poems to do, right? 24 poems, right? Yeah, 24 poems. So from that, they'll be giving two context questions. And from drama, you'll be given with two contexts. And also the frictional ones or the non-frictional, that is the prose, the short stories or prose in short. So you'll be getting two from each. That is how it makes six context questions. Okay, so from poem, prose, and then the drama. Okay, and then when we go to the part B, that is section B part, there you'll be given with three things. Okay, like all the three novels, you have to select the novel you did at school. Okay, maybe the one you like the most. So when you have time, you can just read the novel. Okay, like that isn't that hard to do, right? But like when we consider a set up questions in novel, it's a bit hard because you have to attempt the question according to the question they ask, right? You have to give proof and quotations from the novel, right? Which is pretty much not so hard, but like it's manageable, right? So that is the structure. And then that is part one. And on the other hand, we have part two, where you have to write essay type of answers. Right? Essay type means like we have to have an introduction, right? 2 to 3 body paragraphs, and then obviously a conclusion. Right? So that is how you have to write an essay. So in the part two, you'll be given with 5 questions from poems where you have to select one. Okay, and then you have drama, select one. So all the questions from the part two paper you have to select. So at the end of the day, you'll be writing 4 essay questions. One from poem, one from prose, one from drama, and one from novel. 4 essay type questions. And the whole paper is just for 3 hours. Okay, so within like 45 minutes, you can do the context part. I mean, the part one, you can finish it off by 45, 50 minutes. That is more than enough. Okay, so the rest of the 2 hours plus the 10 minutes, okay, plus the 10 minutes reading time, you can take for the part two essay type writing. Okay, so which is like really like you have to organize, right? You can't just write in sake of writing. It should be organized because for organization, for language, right, and for like quotations and stuff, they give you marks, right? Capitation, even those things they see because this is English literature, right? So they expect you to write in a proper grammatical sentence structure, not just small baby sentences. Right? It should be properly organized, right? So that is the paper structure. I just gave you a gist, okay, a summary on how it is. So now we'll go to the paper discussion. Okay, so part one, section A. Can we like quickly do this? Do you all have the paper with you? 2019 paper with you? Yeah? 2019 paper with you all? Just you can use the chat. Like if it's yes, yes. If it's no, no worries. I can send that in the group. If not, you can get a screenshot of this. Okay. Yeah, some has. Right? That's good. So what I thought of doing, because this is English literature, right? It's English literature. So where you have to write more things, right? Than a discussion, you have to practice writing, right? Without grammatical mistakes, with proper capitations and full stops and stuff, right? So I thought of doing like this. I'll give you 10 minutes. Okay, just 10 minutes. Okay. You can do the first two questions. That means you have to complete one questions in 5 minutes. So it's a timing thing. Okay, this is how you have to practice for paper also. For the final paper, this is how you have to practice. This is what I teach my students to do. I'll give them 15 minutes to complete three questions. Because if I give 5 minutes, they'll be asking for me to extend the time. Okay, so right now so let's say it's 5:10 right now. Okay, I'll give you 10 minutes. That means you have to be done with the work by 5:20. And then we can discuss. I just want to know how you write and if you can manage time. That's the main part in literature papers. Okay, so start writing the answer for the first two. Okay, just want to see how you attempt the paper, that's all. Yeah, you have a pen and a book with you? Pen and a paper, right? So start writing and then we can discuss. Yeah. And the ones who doesn't have a paper, you can see the screen, right? It's visible, right? I hope it's visible. Okay. 10 minutes, go on. Start writing. The first two only. Just you have to find the answers, right? Like who wrote them and which book was, like what is the story or the poem's name, right? And what they ask for. Like simple things to write. And this is for 5 marks, right? Each question have 5 marks. That means within 10 minutes you are targeting for 10 marks question, which is really great thing to do, right? Than scoring in essay type questions, can score more in context part in literature, right? In between, if you have any doubts or how you have to answer those things, you can ask me. I can explain you. Okay, no worries in that. But I just want you to write down, because like history, we can't like go on explaining things. Literature, it's about writing. I hope you all started. Yep. And make sure you write the answer, because I'll pinpoint someone. So you have to answer me back when I ask the question. Because there are some kids who will be like, okay, let her finish her talking until 10 minutes and then I'll write the answer what she says. That can't be done over here, right? So you better answer it. Yeah, until you'll answer, can I know where are you from? Like any central province people? Mathala, Kandy, central province? Yeah, you can raise your hands. Any Central Province people? No? No one? Really? Okay. Ahmed is from Central. That's cool. Even I'm from Central. Okay, anyone from Colombo? Like Gampaha, Colombo, the western side? Yeah, anyone from Colombo? Colombo, the western part of the country? Yeah? Okay. So you're both from Colombo and Martinez, that's it. Okay. Anyone from Eastern? Anyone from Eastern? Patiklo and stuff? Eastern part, Ampaha district. Ampara, right? Yeah, Ampara district and stuff. Beruvala, okay. That's nearby Colombo, yeah. 2 hours from Colombo. And anyone from the upper part, the top of the country? Jaffna, Kilunuchi, Mannar, Trincomalee. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so you're done with the question now? Like just 7, 8 minutes more? Are you like halfway done with the first one? Yeah, halfway done? Or didn't even start yet? Any people who are done with the whole question? The first and second one? Because if you're done like that, that's really cool. That means you can manage your time perfectly and you can spend more time in writing basic. And if you guys like, can you hear any other noise apart from my voice from my side? I hope no. But if you are hearing, I'm actually boarding, so you might hear some noise from my side. Sorry about that. Yeah. So done. Like we have time, like 5 minutes more. But still, I just want to know whether you're halfway done through it or not. Because to be interactive, it'll be better if you guys like have some participation in the discussion. Because this is a discussion session. Like if you want, you can argue with me, saying no, that's wrong. Yeah, yeah. Done? Shall I discuss? Or should I give you some more time? Like to exactly finish the 20 minutes? I mean, to make it 5:20, or should I start discussing? Have you at least completed the first one? Yeah? Maybe you can at least react whether it's done or not. Yep, done. At least one people from your completed. This one to answer one context question, 5 minutes is more than enough because you have only 4 questions to answer there, right? So 5 minutes is more than enough. You can explain also in that. For the last question, the fourth question, you usually have to describe it, right? Like maybe to write it in like 2 or 3 sentences or lines. For everything, like 5 minutes for each context is more than enough. Yeah. Now we'll start discussing then. Yeah. Okay. The first one over here. So you have to read the quotations they have given here, right? And then you have to find out who wrote them and in what work is it taken from, right? So from where are these lines taken from or taken? Who wrote them? So what is this poem over here? Because your lover threw wild hands towards the sky, and the affrighted steed ran on alone. So what is the poem? Yeah, you can see it's a poem, right? You can identify it's a poem, right? Yeah, was it? What did you say?
What is
Yeah, it's from Voice Kind, right? Voice Kind by whom? Who is the poet? You can just directly write like that. The poem, or you can say,
Stephen by
yeah, Stephen Crane, right? Voice Kind should be within the quotations, right? Because it's not written by us, it's done by someone else. So, in order to respect it, we have to write that in quotation. And the W should be in capital, war is kind, and K should be capital, right? So, you have to make sure you write that in capital letters within quotation marks, and you have to write by this person, that is Stephen Crane, right? So, you have to make sure that you write in that order. Okay, in the order they give the question to us, cannot the vice versa. Even worse for that, they'll be like, why is she or he, why is he doing like this? They have asked in a way where I can answer in that way itself, right? So that is that. Make sure you write that within quotations because that is really important. Not only the context one, even for a set of questions, you have to do the same. You have to write the poem or the drama's name within quotation, and it should be the exact capital letters as it is given in your textbook. You can't change it. Okay, so question number B here. What does the action in the first line indicate? So what does it indicate? Because your lover threw wild hands towards the sky. What does it indicate? That someone is dead, right? Normally we lie in the ground like that just because if someone is dead, right? What does the action in the first line indicate? That indicates that someone is dead. Or you can say, the soldier is dead. Because here we know in this poem, it's a soldier who goes to war and he's dead because of the war. Right? The whole poem is sarcastic. Right? It's an ironical poem because is war kind? Is it kind to anyone? To the governors, politicians, to the public, to the relatives, to the children, right? When we consider each and everyone, even to the society, is it kind to us? No. So the whole poem is very ironical and it's very sarcastic. That is how Stephen Crane has created the poem, so that it will make us guilt thinking about war. Alright? So what does the action in the first line indicate? It indicates that the soldier is dead. That's why he's like throwing his hands wide open towards the sky. Right? And the next part. And there are some people, okay, there are some students who write the answer for this question, okay, the B first part, and they just ignore this. Ignore in a sense, they just don't do that wantedly, okay, they don't like force them to do like that, but they just forget it, which is not good because they won't get marks if you do that. So make sure you read the whole question and answer the whole question. Okay, if you skip like this, then you won't get proper marks. Okay, so what does the action in the first line indicate? The answer I said you before. And then why does the steed run away? Steed in a sense, the horse, right? A military horse, in other words. A horse. Why does the horse run away over here? Maybe because he is afraid of the sound. Okay, because like the drumming sound was heard, right? And also maybe the horse thinks that it'll be the next to die like that, right? Every creature in the world is afraid of death, right? I am afraid, you are all afraid, right? Everyone, every single individual in earth, animals, birds, whatever the creatures, any single organism is afraid of death, because that is how life is, that is how we are created, to be afraid of death, right? So the same thing goes with the steed over here. So as the owner, the master of the steed, that is a soldier, is now dead, right? By opening his eyes towards the sky, he's dead. So maybe the horse thinks that it'll be the next to die, right? So that's why the steed runs away. Am I clear until now? Like, simple words should be used. Just write in your own words the answer. Okay, don't try to use fancy words. Okay, because when correcting the papers, we can identify whether you are using fancy words wantedly or is it your natural thing to use like that. Okay, so don't try to use fancy words. Teachers don't like that. Okay, just use the same simple words you love. Okay, just use the words you are using at school, using at the papers you write. Okay, so that is that. Question number C for the first one. What is the theme reflected in the two lines? So what is the theme we get through these lines? Because your lover threw wild hands towards the sky, and the frightened steed ran on alone. So what is the theme brought out through these lines?
Every creature on earth is afraid to death.
Yeah, right? Like everyone is afraid of death. That is one possible answer you can say. What else can we say? We can see the effects of war over here, right? The effect of war. People die. People get afraid, right? Because of war. So that is also a possible answer. It's a theme that we can see through this line. No need to compare the whole poem to write a theme for this. Okay? Just write a theme that you get in your mind when you read the exact quotation they have given here. Okay. So that's for the first question. So now compare the answer you wrote. Okay, I gave you a time period, right? So compare the answer you wrote and the answers what I said. So if you're like 50-50 with the answers I said and the answers you wrote, that's fine. Okay. If not, if you're lesser than that, like the answer isn't matching with the answers I said, that means you have to practice writing answers. Right? If you just read and then straight away go to the exam hall and write, then nothing will come into your mind when writing. Like you won't get the proper answer. So what you have to do for literature paper is to practice writing for questions. Write it out. Write in the paper. Practice. Like you can throw away the paper. It doesn't matter the answer is correct or wrong. Okay, but you have to correct the paper. Like after writing the answers, you have to give it to someone and correct it out. If you don't have anyone, that's okay. You can send it to me. Calculate and then send it back. Okay, make sure you correct yourselves. Then only you'll know that whether your answer is correct or wrong. So now can I know who got 50-50 in this for the first question? Any answers that apps with mine? I didn't say my answer is the perfect one because in literature we can't say that. No answer is perfect in literature because everyone has their own perspectives. Everyone has their own ideas to give to the world. Right? Just want to know whether y'all are 50-50 with me. Yeah, anyone, like, can you raise your hands if it's correct? Raise your hands. Okay, Shahla, Shiam, sorry. Siam. Yeah, okay. Who else? This is a poem from the grade 11s, right? Sorry. Yeah, this is a poem from the grade 11s or 10s, right? Because different teachers teach this poem in different time period. They also choose that poem to do in the class in grade 10, and also some teachers choose that to do in the grade 11s. But I hope you did this poem, Boys Kind. Right? So anyone else who got 50-50 with this? So we can move on. Okay, so it's only Shahla who has got 50-50. Is that so? No one else? Okay, Aini, Amesha. That's all. Aini and Amesha. Who else? Shahla? All the three of you. Okay, so others, you have to practice, okay? Make sure you practice. Okay, so question number 2. They would put her on a throne where I could not go to see her. So at first glance, what do you think about these lines? Before moving to the poem, yeah, what do you think about these lines? Who or what do you imagine when you read this line? Like, if you know the poem, you can see it's a mother and a daughter's conversation. Or the mother is like wanting her daughter to be with her, to see her daughter to be in a proper manner. Like in the future, the mother wants to make her child to be in a safe place. But if you read in another way, you also can approach this as the husband or the father, right? They want to make their daughter or else the wife to be in a better place, right? To give everything to her to make her a queen. Okay, this is how we approach literature. So everyone will have their own perspective. So as you are said by the teachers that this is a poem by the mother to the daughter, you know it's a mother to the daughter poem, right? It's a parent relationship poem, the child, right? But if no one said you like that, you might probably end up thinking that it's a husband or the boyfriend is saying the girlfriend like this to make his girl to be in a better place in the future. Anyone can think like that, right? Right. So this is the perspectives, the different ways of thinking when we consider literature. Okay, now to the point. Name the work from which these lines were taken. So from where do we get this poem? I mean, from where do we get these lines from?
Here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fear, right? Fear, F capital, and it should be within quotation marks, right? Fear by whom? Who wrote Fear? The poet's name? Gabriela Mistral. Right, Fear by Gabriela Mistral. That's the answer to that question, right? Name the work from which these lines were taken and name the poet. So one answer in both. I mean, two answers in one sentence. Okay, so next one. Who speaks those words? Who is referred to as her? Who speaks these lines? Who speaks this? And to whom? It is by the mother, right? Mother to her daughter, exactly. Nada, you're correct. Right? Good. So it's the mother who speaks to the daughter. You can say who speaks these lines? The mother. And next line things you can say her, like within quotation, her refers to the daughter. Okay, you can approach the question in two ways. Both are correct answers. You can say mother to daughter, or else you can say mother and then her refers to daughter. Because that's what they have asked here. Okay, both of the answers are correct. No wrongs in that. Okay. Next one. What do the lines communicate about the speaker's feeling towards her? So who is the speaker here first? That's the mother, right? So what do we understand about the speaker's feeling towards her? That the mother really loves the daughter, right? She wants her daughter to be in the best place possible in the future, right? Isn't it so? Not only for the daughters, even for the sons, their mothers want them to be in the best place possible in the future, right? If it comes to my mother, she'll be supporting to my brother, obviously. It doesn't mean that she doesn't love me, right? She really loves us. Okay, she really loves us, but they have this attachment to the sons. Too much noise from my side? Yeah? Like it's okay if you let me know, and then so I can change my place. I mean, like I can go sit somewhere else.
No, ma'am, it's okay.
Okay. Okay. So the next one. So that is the possible answer for that question. So make sure. Okay. So when we consider, so see, you can see the marks criteria over here, right? So you'll be getting 1 mark for the first one. For the A, you'll get 1 marks. Okay, that is to write the poem's name. Okay, the poet's name. That is 1 mark. And for the rest of the 2, you'll be getting 2 marks each. For B2 and for the C question 2. That is how you'll get 5 marks. So you have to write the answer apting for the marks. Vehicles. Okay. So that is how you'll get the marks. Okay, for every context question, that is how it is. Okay, for these ones. Okay, for the section A context questions. Whereas the section B, there the marks is different. That is, you'll be getting 10 marks for one question there. Okay. So question number 2 is the same thing. Okay, you'll be getting 5 marks. 1, 2, and 2. 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2. Okay. Third question. We kept steadying ourselves. We kept steadying ourselves on the seats. No one spoke. No one uttered a sound. Right. So, is it a drama? Is it a novel? Is it a prose? Is it a poem? So you have to find that out, right?
It's a prose.
It's a prose, right? So what is it from? What is it from?
Lahore
No,
attack.
Lahore attack. Yeah, obviously. It's not from Wave. Wave, they describe about the wave, like the gray and ash, brown and ash. Those things what they give to the context. Okay, to make sure it's Wave. This one, they are like seated, right? That means they are seated inside the bus. You consider Lahore attack by Kumar Sangakkara. They're like seating inside the bus when they go from Lahore to the stadium. Like when they come back from the stadium to the uh, when they were like moving from one place to another, right? Within Pakistan. Right? So from which work are these taken from? That is from Lahore attack. Or you can say the extract from Kumar Sangakkara's Khalid Counter lecture. Okay, that's the it's a lecture, right? It's a speech he delivers. Right? Even now you can go Google it, or you can watch the whole speech in YouTube. It's there. Okay, the whole speech is there. Okay, so it's from the extract, or you can say it's the Lahore attack by Kumar Sangakkara. He's a cricketer, right? Obviously, you might know. Then, why couldn't the characters keep steady on their seats? Why didn't they speak? So why didn't they sit steadily? Why couldn't they be steady in their seats? Because they were afraid,
Because
right? Because they were afraid of them getting shot by the guns, right? It's a terrorist attack, right? So they were like, make sure they don't get shots anywhere. Okay. Then why didn't they speak? The same reason. They were afraid of that, right? They were afraid if they speak, then they'll be the next kind of. They were really afraid. They didn't know what to do at that time. Even now, let's say, but now we are like virtually distanced, right? Like we are distanced from each other. But what if we have a classroom and I'm doing the class there, and what if someone else comes and attacks us, right? What will we do? We might try running, but that also will make us die, right? Like they'll shoot at us. That is the same thing they were doing. They was just without any movement. They were like just stunned and shocked, right? Then, what is the situation that made the characters behave in this way? Why were they like steadying in their seats? Why were they not speaking? Because there was a terrorist attack and they were scared. Like when they were going back from their stadium, they were attacked by a group of terrorists in Pakistan. So you have to explain, like describe the situation because it is for 2 marks, right? So you have to like explain the situation, what happens there. Okay, am I clear until now? Okay. So the fourth one. I told you not to, and now I tell you that you may, came the voice from the rainwater tank rather impatiently. That is obviously, right? That is The Lumber Room by Saki. Right? The Lumber Room by Saki. From which text are these lines taken from? That is Lumber Room. And who wrote them? That is Saki. Right? That was his pen name. Pen name in a sense, the name they use when they write. Okay, his original name was Hector Munro. Yeah, will you say something? Okay, so that is that. Next one. Who speaks these lines? Who speaks this?
Nicholas.
No,
Nicholas
it's not.
aunt.
Aunt.
Yeah, it's the aunt,
No.
right? Nicholas' aunt, the warden, we can say, right? It seems like a warden, right? It is mentioned as it is the aunt,
Yeah.
right? But it seems like a warden, right? I told you not to, and now I tell you that you may. Came the voice from the rainwater tank rather impatiently. That means like this is when she fell into the rainwater tank, right? That is when this conversation happens between Nicholas and his aunt. Who speaks these lines? The aunt. To whom are they spoken? That is to
Children.
Nicholas. No, it's to Nicholas. It's to Nicholas. Because at this time, all the children are away from the place. They went to the beach, right? Remember? Starting
Yeah.
part of the prose itself, they are going on a trip to a beach. So now it's only Nicholas and his aunt at the house, right? So it's from the aunt to Nicholas. Then what aspect of the speaker's character is reflected in these lines? So what is the qualities or characteristics that is saying us about the aunt here? Because the speaker here is the aunt, right? What does
She's
it
a
say?
selfish lady.
She is a
Selfish lady.
yeah, right? She's like when she fell inside something, when she is at danger, she's asking for help. But when someone else, like Bobby, right? He got hurt, but when he went and said to the auntie, she didn't even care about it. Right? Those things are mentioned when they had a conversation. When Nicholas and his aunt had a conversation. Right? So the main thing we get to see about the character is that she's really selfish, self-centered, right? Or else you can say centric. These are synonyms we can use. Right? That is that. So question number 5. Buy? What's buy? What's nice things? What do you want beside me? So what is this from?
Twilight of Crane by Yuzua Yuri Kinoshita.
Yes, it's Twilight of the Crane by Yuzuwa Junji Kinoshita. Or else you can say just Kinoshita. Right? Twilight of the Crane by Kinoshita. That is also correct. Okay? Who is the speaker here?
So,
Sue, right? The wife of the farmer. The wife of Yohyo. Right? Who is the speaker and to whom are the words spoken? That is to Yohyo. Right? So it's Sue to Yohyo. That's the conversation. This is right after he asking for more clothes. Right? So he's saying right, like if we have more money, we can buy more things. That is why he's asking for the cloth to be woven again. But and then Sue asks, what is buy? What are you talking about? Right? And she's like, why do you want any other things beside me? And that shows her innocence of love, right? That shows the natural love of her, the true love. right? So where is that? And then what themes of the drama are reflected in these lines? What are the themes that we see from these lines? Yeah,
True
money
love is
versus yeah, true love is
better than everything.
yeah, true love is better than everything. Money versus love. What else? Materialism, we say. Even that is a theme over here because they are mentioning the word buy, right? We buy things when we are materialistic, right? So it's a materialism. So materialism versus true love. That is also a theme here. Yeah? Got it so far?
Yes.
Thank you. So we'll move on. Okay, this one. You have mourned him, and quite right. But you can't go on weeping and wearing and mourning forever. Right? So we can see what is this from?
The Bear,
Yes, obviously. The Bear by
Anton
Anton Chekhov.
Chekhov.
Yes. From which text are these taken from? It is The Bear. Who wrote them? Anton Chekhov. So the answer could be The Bear by Anton Chekhov. Within quotations, with proper capitations. Okay, don't ever forget that. Okay? That should be there when you answer. Okay, next one. Who speaks these words? To whom are they spoken? So who speaks these words?
Servant of the house.
Yeah, what's his name? You can mention his
Luca.
name itself. Yes, it's Luca to Papua. Right? It's from Luca to Papua. And you said it's the servant of the house. Right? He is not exactly the servant. He's like a father figure to Papua. Right? When we see the conversation between them, we can see that he acts like a father to her. Right? Guiding her and stuff. Right? So you better mention it. Like you better mention his name than saying that the servant or a laborer or something like that. You better mention the name because we have only 3 names in that entire drama, right? It is Spurnav or Spurnav, some people pronounce, right? And then we have Luca and Papua. Other than that, the husband of Papua and stuff is not that important, but he plays a vital role there because of him only Spurnav is like coming to get his money back. Okay, next one. How would you describe the speaker's attitude toward speaker's attitude to the behavior of the person spoken to? So they are asking, what is the speaker's attitude? Speaker here is the Luca, right? What is the speaker's attitude towards the listener here? So what is he trying to do? That's the correct
To
question they're asking directly.
take Papawa out of mourning for his
Yeah,
late husband.
Luca wants to make sure that Popo is out of that mourning session, right? He doesn't want her to be mourning over the dead person for more than necessary, right? He wants to make Popo happy, to have a new future, to have a better future coming like near, right? Like in the near future, he wants to make sure that Popo is really happy. That is why he's trying to say and like making consoling her so that she'll be out of that mourning things, right? So you can write that as an answer. Okay, so that is about that. So when we consider novels, so this part session B is about novels, right? You'll get 10 marks for these sessions and you have 3 novels in your syllabus. So we have Bringing Tony Home, Vendor of Sweets, and Prince and the Pauper. And the thing is, I can discuss this question, but each one of you may do one and one. Right? Some may do Bring Tony Home, some may do Prince and the Pauper, and the other one would do Vendor of Sweets. So I thought of skipping this part, but what you can do is you can write the answer on which novel you are doing and send me, so I can correct it. Yeah. So like if I have time, I can do a whole session on one particular novel. Can do the questions on that. Okay, and like I can do each one of them like that. Like that's what I do in my classes. Okay, so for now we'll start an essay type one. At least the introduction you can do, right? So when we consider poems over here, so here you can see you are given with 5 poems to be written, and each one of this is from one genre, that is one theme. So we have the theme of humor, society, conflict, right? Nature, and also we have the theme of what was the other one? Humor, nature. Then we have conflict, society, and I missed the other one. We have 5 themes.
Life.
Life, yeah, obviously, right? Life. So you are given with 5 poems from each of those themes. So when we consider this poem, that is from the theme of nature, right? Voice kind is from conflict. So it goes like that. Each poem is from each theme. Okay, and so if you like, so as we discuss some context questions from voice kind, I thought of doing this one. So here the question is simple, right? Voice not kind. See, like that is a statement they are giving us, right? They're not saying in an ironical manner. They're saying the truth. Right? They are giving the truth to us. They are saying voice not kind. Discuss how this idea is presented in Stephen Crane's Voice Kind. So you have to say that war was not kind throughout this poem, and you have to give quotations and proof with your own perspective ideas. Do you understand? So for the introduction, you can start like this. So the poem Voice Kind by Stephen Crane is written in ironical manner. Throughout the poem, we'll start throughout the poem, he's confessing indirectly to the public that war is never kind to people. For instance, he takes the mother and a son, right? And then a lover and his beloved, right? And then we have the father and the child. So by giving us 3 different incidents, 3 different relationships of human, Stephen Crane is portraying that war is never kind to people. So this could be a possible introduction. So this is what I made up right now. Okay, there are maybe mistakes, okay, because I didn't organize it properly. Okay, but you can do that. You can organize it properly. And also if you can mention the 3 different incidents in the introduction as a thesis, then you can easily write the body paragraphs. So first instance, let's say for the first body paragraph, okay, rather than the introduction, you have to write the next paragraph, right? That is what we call as the first body paragraph. Okay, in that you can take the example of the son and the mother, right? Where the son is dead now and the mother's heart is hung like a button, right? That shows how painful she is, how tragic it is to her that her own son is dead now, right in the field, and all of this happened because of the government, because of the kings, right? And you can see the poet Stephen Crane is not directly addressing or directly criticizing the government. He doesn't do that. He is using sarcasm in doing that. He's like indirectly inflicting in our heads that the government didn't do their job properly. So this is what you can write. You can also include that these techniques were used and what that techniques helps us to understand. So like in the line, the heart hung like a button. So what is the technique there? Yeah, heart hung like a button. What is the
Simile.
technique? No. Ah, you can say it's a simile. Heart hung like a button. That's a simile. It's because the word of like a os, like a as, that is a simile, right? That is, so what does it says to us? Why is the poet using simile here? Right? You have to know that. Right? Why, like, you just can think, right? Why might he have been using that technique? So I would say that he used this technique to show uh, how how pathetic the mother is now. Without without the son, how pathetic the mother is right now. Because her own son is not hers anymore. He's towards the God now. He's dead right now. So it shows a pathetic situation of a mother. And also we can see the same line, refers to the same line, and it also gives us another technique, which is alliteration. Right, the rhyming of h over there is there. Right, hung, heart hung, humble. Right, h sound. Her sound is repeated. So that is alteration. So what does it brings to us? It shows how death is inevitable. Right, her sound, her heart, like how painful it would be to the mother, and it is inevitable. Right, no one is immortal. Right, we are all mortal human beings. Mortal in a sense, people will die one day. Only gods don't. Like when we consider these mythological stories, they are the god and goddesses are immortals. That means they don't have death in their life. Okay, so that is a possible body paragraph you can give. Second paragraph, you can explain another incident from the poem and say that truly war is not kind. You have to make it explicit. Explicit means you have to say that this is the truth. And if you're like saying no, then you have to argue like that. It's everything is within the words you use. Okay, the words is much powerful, right? So that is that. So like that, you can explain 3 body paragraphs, and then you can give a conclusion, saying. So you can directly address the question again. You can say, so because of these reasons that I have stated above, okay, because the incident of a father and a son, mother and a son, lover and his beloved, that because of these people suffering because of war, because people make war glorified, so thus we can understand that war is not kind in real life, and it makes people suffer than the victims. Right, it is the victims' relatives who suffer the most, because let's say here the son is dead, right? He doesn't know what's happening after his death. But think about the mother, what she has to go through in the society without the son, right? So it's the victim's relatives who suffers the most than the victim of the war, right? So you can include all these things in the answer, in the possible essay answer you're writing. You understand? This is how you have to structure an essay. Yeah, any doubts from today's session? Yeah. Any doubts from today's session? Part 1A. You mean this one, right? Is that what you're referring to? It's not from Wave. These are from from the novels. This is from Bring Tony Home. This one is from section A. Okay, wait. Section A, third one, right? You're asking for. No, it is from Lahore Attack. We kept steadying ourselves on the seats. No one spoke, no one uttered a sound. Okay, so yeah, so for any doubts or any things you have to ask me about regarding literature,
For at least how many pages that we should write an essay type
for the
answer?
essays. Okay, so it's like this. You can write 2.5 sides. Okay, maybe 3 sides. But the main thing is, even if you write 5 to 6 pages, what is important is whether you include the points that is necessary. Right? You have to include the points that is necessary. So maybe like when you include and write everything, if you write like 2 pages means 4 sides. Or you can write 3 sides. If you write 3 sides or 3.5 sides for an essay, that will be enough. Because you have to manage time too. Right? So that would be enough. 3.5 or 3 sides of a page. 3 sides of a CR paper.
If I include all the main points and write for 1 to 2 pages, is it enough?
Yeah, 2 pages is enough. That means 4 sides, right? Because in a page we have 2 sides, right? And if you write like 4 sides or 3 sides like that, it's enough. That means 1 page and a half of another page. That would be done. Okay. I hope you're clear with the session today, and hopefully by next week, like I'll be continually doing this sessions, pre-sessions, discussing the papers. Okay, to have a deep analysis on how and to make you practice writing, you can join my paid sessions for that. For that, you have to ask the coordinator, so he'll be adding you to the groups. Okay then. So we'll end the session for today, and hopefully all of you got the things I said you. Yeah? Okay then. Assalamu alaikum. Have a nice day. Good evening.